You know me, a natural footballman.
That is what we called you in school. Chase Footballman.
Chase Sports Albee. My nickname in elementary school. Hell yeah.
On a scale of 0 to 10, Chase.
Yeah.
How loose are your chops right now?
My chops, we were trying to open up our chops pre-show. I'd say my chops are probably at like a 6 right now. Like, feeling recordable for sure, which is, usually my chops are wide open by the intro. But yeah, we're loosening up the chops. That's what the intro does. It gets us ready for the show. Yeah, how are your chops?
I was gonna say mine are probably like an 8.5.
Ooh, okay.
They're bordering on a little too loose. Like I'm getting to the part, like if you're using like a machine gun in a video game, I'm getting to that red. I'm getting into that red section. I'm towing the line right there.
Yeah, you're gonna have to
overheat
wait.
in a second.
You're gonna have to wait to make a podcast for about 30 seconds.
I was about to say, gonna have to just have 30 seconds of just radio silence. Gotta let these boys cool down. They're too loose.
Somebody get that man some water. He's making way too much of a podcast over there. His chops are wide open.
Yeah, I'm gonna need more than water, baby. These things get going.
What do you cool down a chop with other than water?
Just a big old block of ice, maybe like a fire extinguisher.
That's an emergency chop fire that you have to put out at that point.
I mean, it can become a danger to yourself and those around you, so you have to be prepared.
That's just the kind of risk that we're willing to go. We're willing to go? Is that how you say that? That's just the kind of risk we're willing to endure. To endure here at Video Game Podtimism.
Hey. Yes.
Our chops have aligned. Now we're ready for an intro. It's Video Game Podtimism. Is oh god, no. My chops closed up, David. Oh god.
We need some WD-40 for them chops right now. Gotta get them loose.
It is Video Game Podtimism, the Optimists video game variety show, where two best friends talk about the wonderful world of gaming. My name is Chase, and I think my chops are currently at a 7. They've opened up a little.
Mine are now at like a 8.25, 8.25. They've cooled down a little bit.
Hey, you're trying to rein them in.
I'm trying to rein them in a little bit because, once I really start getting podding, I want to be able to let them off the reins a little bit and not have to worry about it. So I just got to bring them down. Probably like a 7.5. 7's probably a pretty good place to be.
Yeah, sure. Your pod chops are wild horses. They just want to be let run free through the fields of pod.
Pretty much. Insert Arthur Morgan horse talking bit right here.
Girl.
Come on now, girl.
Come on, girl.
Come on, get.
Oh, God. Speaking of Arthur Morgan, have you been playing video games, David?
Yeah, also I'm David.
Oh, yeah, right. I forgot about that. Chops are too far.
My chops are too loose. My name didn't come out.
Yeah.
I have been playing video games. This is true.
Yeah.
This is a true fact.
Which ones? Tell me, please.
Yeah, so it's been Bugsnax.
Talking about Bugsnax. Is this the only game you're playing this week? Have you just been in the snack zone?
I've been in the snack zone all week.
Okay, all right.
Just lost in the snacks.
Yeah.
I beat it.
You beat Bugsnax. Holy
I beat
shit.
Bugsnax.
You really were in the snack
game.
zone.
It's not a long game.
Still. Wow. That's impressive.
I was in the snack zone. Yeah, the story is wild. I would recommend playing it if you haven't.
I've heard that the ending of it is pretty bananas.
Yeah, it's a very interesting game because it definitely has the cutesy look of a kid's game, but really there's nothing very kid-like in tone about it besides just like people's looks in their names.
Yeah.
But they do have some top tier video game character names in it. I'll tell you that.
Okay. What's the one you're thinking of offhand here?
Ooh, there's a couple.
Okay, tell me.
Filbo Fiddlepie.
There's power in these runes.
Filbo Fiddlepie.
Mm-hmm.
I think probably my personal favorite, Chandlo Funk Bun.
Wow, yeah, that's a nice one.
Funk Bun.
feels fun, kind of tumbling around in your mouth before it comes out.
Another one, Snorpy Fizzlebean. Snorpy, Fizzlebean.
All these names sound like when you like try and make fun of someone's name. Like what's the game where you try and make fun of Benedict Cumberbatch's name by just saying something a little different?
Bandicoot Cumberbatch.
Yeah, exactly. They all sound like one of those names.
They do. Mm-hmm. Wiggle Wigglebottom. First name Wiggle, last name Wigglebottom. Wiggle.
Oh, God.
Gramble Giggle Funny.
Oh, I like Gramble.
Gramble Giggle Funny.
Yeah.
And Wambus Troubleham.
Now, Wambus I can get into.
Wambus. But yeah, this game is so silly, but also so strange and serious at the same time.
Yeah.
What keeps you going in the game isn't the Bugsnax, but the Grumpuses, who are the people in the game. They're called Grumpuses.
Yeah, they're the ones who eat the Bugsnax and sort of horrifyingly turn into the snacks.
Very, very horrifyingly, if you finish the game. Which you should, Chase. I think you'd enjoy it.
Okay.
But it's a fun game.
Yeah.
It's just a little silly diversion. It's not very hard. Mm-hmm. It's just go catch some Bugsnax, do some missions, see some dialogue between these characters that are surprisingly likable.
Yeah.
And then just kind of experience a silly, weird story that really can only be told through a video game, I think, personally.
Oh, interesting. Okay. That's kind of an endorsement.
Like, I don't know. I mean, maybe you could do like an animated movie about this, but that's the wrong audience. It's the wrong audience.
Video games do have a pretty uncanny ability to like sneak very heavy and wild stories into very kid-like video games.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of it. Like, you could make a video game and not know story-wise that it's really wild until the end. Mm-hmm. But up until then, it's still just fucking Bugsnax, right? It's still just like Pokemon Snap. Like, if at the end of Pokemon Snap, like, Cthulhu was the final Pokemon that you had to, like, pull out of the ground. Hey, bonus level hell. Welcome. You didn't know it was this.
Bonus level hell. Yeah, you have to claw your way back from purgatory to fight Cthulhu and keep him from destroying the world.
Yeah, but you wouldn't know because the rest of it was Pokemon. The rest of it was Bugsnax.
You wouldn't know. Right?
Yeah.
It was all just Bugsnax all along.
Yeah, that's true.
It was all Bugsnax, Chase. Everything was Bugsnax.
I do have to play this game, don't I?
It's fun and silly. It's nothing revolutionary, but it's just enjoyable.
Sure.
You know, it's very chill, vibey game. So if you like some good dialogue and some good relationship evolutions, this is your game.
You know I do.
Give it a try.
Okay.
Meet Wambus Troubleham.
Wambus Troublehand is really strong. I can't get over that one.
They're all really good names.
Yeah.
All really good names.
For sure. Well, cool.
Chandlo Funk Bun is my favorite.
Yeah, that is, again, the last one I hear is the one that I think is the best.
Funk Bun.
Funk Bun is good. It's very good.
Funk Bun is good. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Is that actually the only video game you played?
That and Rocket League.
Sure. Yeah. Your standard.
That's really it.
Wow. Well, hell yeah. Bugsnax.
Bugsnax, baby.
Yeah.
What about you? What have you been playing?
I have been adrift without Death Stranding, David.
Oh, man.
It was absolutely one of those games that I finished, and I was like, I don't really know what to play now.
Mm-hmm.
That was my New Year's resolution, was to beat Death Stranding, and I've already done it.
You did it.
You're
done for the year.
I'm done for the year. I don't have to play any more video games. I will only talk about Mega Man Battle Network from here until the end of 2021.
Oh, God. No.
I was going to say that's a joke, but I'm going to do that anyway, even if I do play new video games.
I feel like there's at least one shout out to it an episode.
Yeah, if you don't hear it, you just have to play the episode backwards, and it's hidden in there somewhere.
Ooh, like the Beatles.
Yeah. Subliminal messaging to make you play this 15-year-old Game Boy Advanced video game.
You gotta get it. You gotta get your TRRP 351GX to play it.
It's not far.
What is it?
The RG351P, David, made by Abernick.
Oh, I had all the letters in there, but just wrong ways.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not convinced that I got that right just now, so...
RG351P.
I think that's it, actually. Yeah.
What do the letters even stand for?
Real
Retro Gamer 351
plus.
Person. Plus. Everything's plus nowadays.
Yeah. Real good 351 powers.
Powers.
Powerful.
Just straight up power.
Okay, so I beat Death Stranding, and I'm just sort of floating around on the tops of other video games right now.
Sure.
I've been playing a lot of that Fire Emblem game. Speaking of the Abernic RG351P, been playing a ton of Fire Emblem. It's really enjoyable. I am shocked that I was able to play this game on the Game Boy Advance without rewind or fast forward or quick saving, because good God, like this game is so punishing in ways that like are near borderline unfair sometimes. Like,
sure,
it is a fair game when I'm able to rewind just a couple of moves and be like, oh, I didn't know there was going to be a guy that spawned right there. Who would just like blast every magic user that I have in this area. But when I have rewind, it's fine, right? Like I just go back. But on the Game Boy Advance, you have to like start the fucking level over and do it over again. And sometimes you're like 20 minutes into the level.
Damn.
I remember pretty specifically playing this like before bed when I was playing it on the Game Boy SP and just like so frustrated. Like, oh my God, I can't believe that's the way this level just did me. I've also realized that I was probably playing this game pretty wrong. Like there are absolutely ways to play the game, not wrong in the way that you're going to lose immediately, but like something that is very much encouraged is that when you're leveling people up in Fire Emblem, you eventually gain the ability to change your class, to like upgrade your class. So the best way to level these people up is you gain the ability to upgrade your class at level 10. The smart thing to do is to not upgrade them at level 10, but wait until you cap out at level 20, so that when you restart and upgrade your character, they start back over at level 1, and then you have 20 more levels to gain. Well, if you upgrade your character at level 10, and then you upgrade them all the way to 20 again, you've only gained net 30 levels. Versus 40 if you wait until the end of the first one.
Chase, I can't do math right now.
Let me put it differently. You can either level your characters to level 30 or level 40, depending, if you do it right.
Okay.
There are a lot of stat differences in between those. Like your character is significantly less prepared for the end game if you are level 30, essentially.
Sure.
And I didn't know this as a kid. I like only barely just like looked it up on like a wiki. I was like, hey, when should I do this? And then they're like, don't fucking level them up yet. You have to wait. They'll be so much better if you just wait.
Interesting.
So yeah, it's been a little bit easier. I also realized that there's an area that you can essentially go like grind for levels that I don't know that I ever used the first time I played this game. So it's a little bit easier and a little bit more graspable, but still the rewind, the fast forward, and the quick save are saving me more lost hairline at this point. So yeah, it's still quite good. The story's pretty boilerplate at this point. It's, you know, our old friend, the king from another kingdom has fucked this over, and maybe he's an evil demon, or maybe he's been taken over by a demon or something.
Whoa.
And there's some stones that are sacred.
There's some stones.
And some good swords from long ago from the history books.
There's some evil guy who may have magic evil powers, and then some sort of sacred item that has magic properties, and then some sort of old relic that is also strong. And
okay, now tactics and anime. Do it. So, yeah.
Fantasy, but make it anime.
Yeah, so it's a good game. Em and I are also pretty much done with Mario 3D World.
Ooh, damn, you blasted through it.
Blasted through it, David. This was all we did for a couple of days.
All right.
We have not gotten every star yet, but we are close.
Getting them all?
Yeah, there's
you're 100%ing it?
It's honestly not as difficult as it sounds. Most of the time, the stars are like pretty obvious, and if you didn't get them the first time, you're like, okay, let me just go look again, and then you'll usually find it. Getting all the stamps is a little bit more challenging, but we're also doing that. Yeah, there's little stampies to collect. So there's a quantifiable end in sight here. There's a big like stone obelisk at the end of the game that's like, it has all the symbols of the stars, the stamps, and the little flag poles on it. And so I presume that is like beating the game, and I can't not do that.
You need the obelisk to say, good job, Chase.
You did it. Look.
I'm your obelisk now.
Yeah,
you deserve that promotion at work.
Thank you.
Put me down as a reference. Mario World obelisk.
My podcast host says I'm a very good boy. Please give me a promotion.
I didn't say it. The obelisk said it.
Oh, sure. Thank you. Thank you, David.
I mean, I'd say it too, but I think it has more clout coming from the obelisk.
That's true. It is an ancient being.
It'll be around longer than I will be, that's for sure.
All right, here's where we pause and don't make a joke about an old one. Nobody make a joke about an old one. No old one jokes. Look like you're about to implode.
I had nothing, but I wanted to say just the old one.
Yeah. We need like some sort of musical stinger to go behind that so we all know that it's your lore voice, as if it wasn't already obvious.
What would it be? What's it going to be?
It's got to just be like some Bloodborne spooky music, like the
Do the Mario, swing your arms from side to side. Come on, it's time to go. Do the Mario.
Like that sort of scary stuff. A chorus.
Okay, cool. I'm an evil lore boy.
I always assume that you're telling the story of like an ancient evil rather than an ancient good.
Could we do the Lord of the Rings music where it's like
Oh, I know the one you're talking about. Yes, we can. I'm sure that Warner Brothers will have no issues with us if that is in fact who made that movie. I don't know.
Hey, I just spent a lot of money to get the 4K Ultra HD editions of those movies.
They owe us.
So they owe me. You owe me. I spent way too much money on that shit, but I wanted it. So
let me just use
here I am.
Let me just use your copyrighted music. It's fine.
It's gonna be like a 30-second clip. Everybody knows who it is. It's free advertising.
I'll just pitch it down so it doesn't count.
pitch it down, even further down.
So yeah, that Mario game is very good. Enjoyed it quite a bit. I asked Em what her opinion of it was, and I think she said it's a little lower than the other Mario games she's played during quarantine. I think she said
which is Thousand Year Door and what else?
Just the most recent Paper Mario, which is Origami King.
Origami King, that's right.
Luigi's Mansion, Captain Toad, Treasure Tracker.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it. I think that's all we've done.
Okay. Have you played Bowser's Fury yet?
Haven't even touched it.
Okay.
I honestly don't know how to get to it in the game yet. I haven't explored that far.
It's the obelisk chase.
You have to unlock it. You have to really beat the game to unlock it. So yeah, I also dipped into that hot, fresh, popular video game everyone's talking about Valheim, David.
I saw a clip of someone who made the Millennium Falcon as a ship. Is that the game where you're like a Norwegish or Nordic person? Nordic person?
Yeah.
Vikings?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
okay.
No, that's the one. It is there's a word for this probably, like a creative adventure game, I guess. Like in the vein of, I guess at the beginning, Minecraft, right? Like it's similar to that.
Sure.
But then also I think like Rust is a similar version of this. The game that I've played the most of, which I'll talk about in a second, is like Subnautica. It reminds me of Subnautica a lot too.
Okay. Okay.
Essentially the game loop being like you start with very little, and you're supposed to like kind of gather resources, craft yourself up until you're able to like tackle different challenges. But it is also very much like a creative game, right? So you can build a lot of shit. It is, I think, in early access still. That to me shows, I think like I have, unfortunately enough, kind of a low tolerance for like really dense mechanics. I know some people just like eat that shit up, right? Like they give you very little by way of instruction and they're like, okay, do it. And like that's it. It can be sort of a hard line to figure out as a game developer, just because like, you know, everybody wants to be Breath of the Wild and not explain anything, but everybody just like understand and intuit how to play the video game.
Yeah.
But with a game like this dense of mechanics, it is kind of challenging. And so I definitely found myself like bumping up against it on just the experience part of it, but the game itself I think is really fun. It reminds me a little bit of Dragon Quest Builders, just in kind of the way that it's laid out and like how you're supposed to like make shit and upgrade it. But then also, yeah, like any other survival game I think is similar to it.
Sure.
It's fun. It is fun. I know that like I've only played this solo so far, and I presume that it is much more fun with like groups of people and shit. So yeah, so far I've done very little. I've like made a camp and leveled some ground and picked up some stones and made axes and shit.
You're on your way to a metropolis, baby.
Yeah, we're almost there. So I've been playing that a little bit, but it definitely spurred me into playing Subnautica Below Zero.
that an expansion for Subnautica?
Sort of. I think you can play it like on its own, and it's supposed to be like a sort of bigger experience. I don't think I've talked about my playing of Subnautica here.
I didn't know you played it, yeah.
Yeah, I played the base game, I don't know, probably like 2 years ago at this point, and loved it. Like, thought it was really, really good. I think the feel of the game is really good. It's really smooth and intuitive, and the base game had a really easy like sort of difficulty ramp. It started you out very simply and just said like, hey, you need to survive, and then started giving you little bits and pieces to help you out, right? Like a lot of the like game loop is find new piece of technology that you want to build. But you need the resources to do that, and then you have to go find where those resources are, essentially. But the world is so gorgeous that it's not like, overwhelming or something. It's like, oh shit, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
And that loop of like, just finding something new, building it eventually, and then getting, having access to other shit, right? Like, oh, I can stay underwater longer, or I can dive to deeper depths, or I've got a ship that I've built or something. So all of that is very cool. This one is also definitely in early access. Like the markers for what you need to be doing at any given time are a little vaguer, but it is cooler because they are trying to lean into the storytelling aspect of it, which is something that I found pretty refreshing in the first Subnautica. Was like, there is a story there rather than just like Minecraft being drop you in and that's it. And so that part of it is like really satisfying. I had to stop playing the first one because it was so terrifying. Like,
it's terrifying?
Oh my God. So I'm like not good with a lot of water. Pictures of the ocean kind of fuck with me.
Thalassophobia?
Yes, like that subreddit is not good for me.
Okay.
It's not like a fear where I can't look at this stuff, but I'm always like, whenever I dive into the water in Subnautica and I can't see the ground, I'm like, oh God, and like have to dip from wherever that is.
So you're not into like going on a cruise or something? That's not your jam?
No, the cruises are very scary to me. Just
it's very fair.
What happens? What if this thing don't do its job?
What's underneath me right now? Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. It's almost, if there was like just 3 feet of water and there could be Cthulhu under there, I wouldn't be so worried. But the fact that there's like miles of ocean below me is so scary to me.
Chase, Cthulhu only needs about an inch of water.
Hey, I'm cool with that. Cthulhu, I kind of know how to get my mind around, as odd as that seems, because I know that when you see him, your human mind breaks.
Lose your mind.
Right, but...
You don't have enough eyes on the inside.
There it is. There's the old one. That's the actual old one. So there's parts in Subnautica that are scary like that. Like there's very, very large behemoths that will try and attack you.
Behemoths.
So they're like at the end of the game of Subnautica, essentially you have to build like gigantic ships and like deal with these monsters that are at like the bottom of the ocean essentially, and they're just huge. There's like a part where I was like trying to dive to the bottom, like the ocean floor, and there's just like this cliff at some point underwater that you're supposed to go off of, and it was so bad. I couldn't handle it. Like I'm just diving. It's so dark. You can't see anything. And like the game just hits you with like these like monstrous sounds coming from out in the distance. You're like, oh no, dude.
And yet you can beat Resident Evil 7.
Not a problem. Like at some point Resident Evil loses its scary, right? Like the first couple hours are pretty scary and intimidating, but like this is zombies, man, shoot them. You got control over that situation. I'm just in my little dinghy trying to get to the ocean floor, so vulnerable and so deep underwater.
People ain't supposed to be there.
No.
People ain't supposed to be there.
And these monsters know it, and they're gonna kick me out. You don't belong,
You don't.
Yeah, so I assume that at some point this game will get to that point too, but right now I'm loving it. I'm just making my little base. Nice. I got my Sea Glide. I'm putting together a sea truck right now, which is very, very fun.
Things are good.
I'm in an ice world, and that's totally cool.
Have you played Abzu?
Abzu? I don't think I have. What is that?
It's another kind of like underwater free swimming kind of game. It seems kind of different than Subnautica. Like I don't know if it has the sort of like survival exploration element, but it also seemed pretty cool.
I have not played Abzu. I should poke on Abzu. Anyway, so yeah, Subnautica is very good, and I'm quite enjoying it. I assume that I will probably continue playing Valheim for a little bit. Hopefully their tutorials can get me over the difficulty hump soon. Anyway, all of this, David, will bring me to my Podtimistic thing of the week.
Ooh, what is it?
This week, I think I haven't talked about this before, given how long it's been since one of these have happened. It's Nintendo Directs, David.
Oh, nice. That's a good one.
Yeah. I love these little things. It feels like just the hype and excitement of E3, just kind of just a little bit every now and then. Because sometimes they drop fucking bombs at these things. Like they'll come out with a Nintendo Direct and like, hey, we haven't talked about it, but here's this new thing.
Yeah,
it's
pretty. Always have some little morsels in there.
Yeah. Did you watch this last one? I think it was like last Wednesday or something.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah. Some stuff. It was definitely a pretty standard down the middle Direct. But fucking Mario Golf, man, damn.
I'm ready. I'm ready for some Mario golfing. Oh god,
the like story mode and RPG mode that they're building in there. I'm like, hell yeah, that's my shit.
It looks like they're taking Golf Story.
Yeah, and I'm totally
putting it into
totally
Mario.
Cool with that,
which I'm good with because Golf Story was great.
Golf Story was really good. I like the game a lot. I'm still waiting on Sports Story. They're supposed to be coming out with that.
Yeah, it's gonna be tennis this time, right?
I think it's a couple of things. Like I think they've built in tennis and a couple of sports. So I hope that's as good.
Sports Ball the game.
Sport Ball the game. Speaking of which, coming up soon, but not yet. So yeah, I love Nintendo Directs. I love also watching people watch Nintendo Directs. I was watching Brendan Bigley of Into the Aethers cast that they do, just watching the like his moment to moment reaction to the video. It's just very fun. Like it's usually like genuine human reaction to exciting things in video games. You also get to like share in the hype and stuff like that.
Yeah,
a lot of I remember a lot of the when like Smash Ultimate was coming out, I think, or Smash 4, I don't remember which, but one of those, and like Etika was so big at the time. Fucking rest in peace, Etika. Jesus, he was the dude. Like I'm sure you've seen some of this guy's like Smash hype videos. Like he just went absolutely bananas for Smash, and like that was so enjoyable to watch. Like it's I just love these things.
Just live someone else's hype.
Kind of, yeah, because I am already very excited, and to see someone also very excited, it's satisfying in its own right. So yeah, love a little slice of E3. Do you have something fueling your sense of optimism, David?
Crossplay.
Hey. Hell yeah, crossplay.
Crossplay is awesome.
It is
especially
awesome.
For Rocket League, because otherwise I would maybe play with Jahan.
Yeah, true.
He's a PC boy.
Whoa, playing
PC
on PC.
Only.
Wow.
He was playing with a mouse and keyboard for a while there.
Oh, that seems like kind of the worst way to play.
And we would be calling each other while playing it, and I could just hear him slamming so hard on the keyboard in the background to like do the power slides and stuff. Dude, would you just get a controller for like $50? Get one. Just save your controller, save your hands,
save that keyboard too, apparently.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, no, crossplay is great because every game should have crossplay. Why don't we have crossplay with everything? It's silly.
There really should be, like, I don't know how to do this, but you could definitely, I feel like, build some kind of like universal API or something that would connect up to like just servers. Like just give me the input and I will give you the output that is universal, right?
Exactly.
Because like, the companies do this. This is a thing that happens. And yeah, I don't know nearly enough about it to be like an expert on this, but it's clearly possible. And like if you're doing like especially competitive multiplayer games, I feel like should mostly be crossplay.
Yeah.
I think that it's a good idea to do stuff like Fortnite does, where, or at least when I was playing on Switch, this was possible, where you could say like, hey, please don't matchmake me with people on PC.
It's fair. I wouldn't want to do that on Overwatch.
No, yeah.
Just get sniped by like 1,000 widows and
just
die.
Blasted, yeah. And like I did, like I'm pretty sure I played with like PC people at some point, and I was like, wow, this is really rough. I'm getting my ass kicked. Versus the nasty Switch controllers. It's much harder to aim.
Where my Switch boys at?
Where them Switch boys at?
That ain't made for competitive esports, that's for sure.
No. So yeah, I'm trying to think of what other games are crossplay. Do you remember what the first game was? I don't know. There was like,
wasn't there crossplay between like Xbox and PC for the Halo, one of the Halo games?
I don't know. I feel like that may have been kind of recent if it was. I feel like there was always rumors of games being crossplay, that like, oh, we got match made with like somebody on PC just now, but like very rarely was that ever confirmed up until like, a couple of years ago when they're like, yes, we're doing crossplay now.
Oh, look at that guy's username. It's PC Bill. Gamer tag. Obviously he's PC.
The Guinness World Record book says that Final Fantasy XI was the first game to allow gamers across multiple platforms to play together.
Huh.
Yeah, so Xbox 360, PS2? That was one of the ones. And PC.
Not PS3, but PS2?
That's what they say. That seems unlikely, but you can get online with the PlayStation 2.
You sure can. Easy. You need that big old connector port thing or whatever it was.
The box that you put in the back and then had to put an Ethernet cord into
the box you put on the box. All right. Hell yeah, crossplay. Good stuff. Makes the online environment seem so much more alive.
It's true. It really does. I ran into this recently because I was playing the most recent Halo, and I didn't even think about it. I was like, oh, well, like for sure the version of Halo that I'm playing will be able to play with everybody else. And it was. And I didn't even think about it. Like, just all of our friends were able to play Halo. It's not like it was a consoled out version of one or the other. So
it's just Xbox and PC though, right?
Well, so I was playing it on the Xbox Series X, and everybody else I assume was on the Xbox One. Plebs. I was looking down from my ivory tower.
Alpha gamer over here.
Worship me in my new controller glory.
You may call me the old one.
We have to move on before we go too deep into this. David, it's Good Games, first of all.
We're back.
It's the segment where we talk about all the games of yesteryear, gosh, all the things that we love about them, and reimagine what they might look like today. When this comes out, this episode, it will be our 49th episode, David.
Ooh.
And love a certain football team.
Oh. I see what you're saying. Is that why you chose this one? Is that why you chose this episode?
You know me, a natural footballman.
That is what we called you in school. Chase Footballman.
Chase Sports Albee. My nickname in elementary school.
Which sport is he good at? All of them.
I don't know which one to say first. He's always so very good at all of them.
Chase, you were born one generation, maybe two generations too late, because there's esports stars in high school now.
Yeah. I don't know if that life would have been good for me either. I think if that was something I was genuinely pursuing, I may have done even worse in high school.
Fair.
Like, I just had to play through Kingdom Hearts 2. That was my main obstacle to getting anything done.
I have to know what's inside of Kingdom Hearts.
It's just a bunch of nobodies. Who are nobodies? Well, that's a good question.
Somebody with no heart is a nobody.
It's the end result of when somebody turns into a heartless. What's left behind is a nobody. Good Lord, dude.
It's ridiculous.
So, being that it is our 49th episode, we're going to talk about some football stuff. Specifically, Niners. We're going to talk about NFL Blitz.
It's a good one.
Good one.
Classic.
I watched some clips of this because I was like, hey, I played a lot of this game. Let me just remember what it looks like. I think I played a lot of this game, actually. There were a lot of like sound clips and like stingers in there that I was like, ooh, forgot about that one. I think this may have been like a daycare video game. I would go down the street from Mission, and they must have had Blitz there. There's the only explanation for why I played this so much. Let me, before we get too far into this, hit you with some hot stats, David.
Hot stats.
Let's hear it.
NFL Blitz. There are a lot of versions of them, but I presume we're probably talking about the one that came out in both arcades and console, which is pretty much the first one. It came out in 1997 for arcades. That's all it listed. It didn't tell me a day, just 1997, the year. I looked in a couple of places.
It just came to be.
No one knows what day it arrived.
They just started popping up in arcades across the country. No one knew who put them there.
It was the Blitz wizard, Waylon. He conjured Blitz.
Such a good wizard name. My God.
Need to write some more fanfic soon. Maybe that's our 50th episode. So yeah, it came out 1997 for arcades, and then September of 1998 for home consoles, the PlayStation 2 and N64. This game was made by Midway Games. We've talked about them before because they made Cruising. Yeah.
Of course he was saying, yeah.
Thank you.
Whoa, whoa. Yeah.
Dude was just unhinged making that soundtrack.
It's the soundtrack of my soul.
I need folks who haven't listened to that episode to go back and listen to Cruising USA. You did it spot on. Like you were not singing to the song. I just put the song in the episode and it was pitch perfect.
The song was coming out of me.
That's the color of your energy, is that song.
Cruising USA. Oh God, I'm fucked.
So, made by Midway. They also are famous for things like Mortal Kombat, Hydro Thunder, and I think most relevant here is also NBA Jam. That is the I feel like touchstone for this one. I have a review here from Power Unlimited, which I believe is a Dutch outlet.
Ooh, okay.
They wrote a very concise review, and I have run it through Google Translate into as many languages as I could find, and then spit it back out in English. So here's what they had to say after destroying this review. Exercise is a crazy situation, and the game is so easy that you'll quickly get off track and not rush. Cabin. 80 out of 100.
What?
So here, the fucked up part about this review is that even just coming from Dutch directly to English, it still had cabin at the end there.
Weird.
I have no idea what word in Dutch does not translate to English very well.
It's got to be like, some sort of strange double entendre or something. Like cabin means...
I wonder if it's
touchdown
a term
or something.
Yeah, I wonder if it's a term in football that
you scored. Your cabin. Yeah. If it sounds like word they use for score or something, I don't know. I'm just making excuses for them at this point. Although when you think about it, exercise is a pretty crazy situation.
It is a really crazy situation. You're trying to wear your body out to make it feel good in the future. What?
It's definitely a product of our modern society. Exercise.
We live in a society, David.
We live in a society, Chase. Truly.
Okay, cool. David, do you want to tell me what this video game is?
I mean, it's NBA Jam, but NFL. So it's just kind of crazy, over the top NFL arcade style video game. So it's not trying to be realistic or anything. It's trying to be over the top and silly and goofy. It's like, what is it? 1st and 30. You have to get 30 yards to get a first down.
You do.
Because plays are just ridiculously huge. Yeah, it's just meant to be, it's not meant to be a sim. It's supposed to be fun. It's football-esque. Football stuff. It's like the American cheese of football games.
Very much arcadey. I think there's only 7 people on a team rather than 11, on the field per team. So yeah, you're right. It's very arcadey. What else is that? Is that it? I mean, there's not much to it.
You can do silly stunts, can't you? Like little moves if you have the ball. I think that you can do something if you're carrying the ball where you pretend to put it between your legs or something like that. I think I was watching a video where someone was doing that.
Yeah, I don't remember. I know that there's a lot of dodging whenever you have the ball.
There is a lot of dodging.
I think it cost flame or stamina or whatever it was.
Flame. Being on fire.
Yeah, I think that's correct. It's very much trying to be an arcade version of football.
Yeah.
So yeah, what you said you played this game a fair amount, right?
Yeah, a decent amount. I didn't have it, but I had friends who had it, so I played with them.
I feel like it was at a lot of kids' houses pretty frequently.
It was a pretty popular hey, I got NFL Blitz, you want to come over? Kind of game.
Yeah, so I mean that's definitely most of what it is. I'm not super familiar with the Madden franchise, but I know that Madden was around before this.
Yeah.
And absolutely played a little bit more like a sim, especially in the years after this. I know that Madden for, SNES and NES and all those sort of consoles around then was more arcadey certainly than it is now, but
trying to be the best sim it could be with the technology it had.
Yeah.
Right.
It was, you got 2 buttons. There's only so much you can do, but I think Blitz was purposefully trying to put a bit of a twist on that in the same way that NBA Jam had. I think So NBA Jam had come out, I think it was like either 4 or 5 years prior. I think it came out in 93. And so I know that like Midway was trying to like recreate the magic of NBA Jam because it had made them like a ton of money.
Oh, it was like a cultural touchstone.
Yeah. I looked up, so the game designers of Blitz were the same couple of dudes who did Jam. Mm-hmm. It was Mark Turnell, and I think it was the artist from Jam, Sal DeVita. I think that's what he said, or what he was listed as.
Sure.
And so like they were very much trying to do what Jam did for the NBA, or they were trying to do for the NFL what Jam did for the NBA.
Yeah.
So yeah. What's your fond memory of this game, David? Why did you like this video game?
Big plays, baby.
Big plays. That's true.
Big plays. That's all you want. You're always going for the Hail Mary. At least I was.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it was Da Bomb was the play that you could do. Yeah.
When it's 1st and 30, you got to go long every time. There's no messing around. There's no who runs the football in this game? Nobody. Do they even have an option to run the football?
I was gonna say I'm pretty sure it's not easy to like use that as a play. I'm pretty sure you have to kind of cheat the system to do that.
There's no point. To running the football if it's 1st and 30. You got to air it out. Just got to go. And that's what everybody loves in football games. They love being the quarterback, and they love just bombing it and just getting a huge gain for a tutter. That's all it's about. It's all it's about. That's the game. It's who can style the best touchdown.
It's true. It was really fun. So like for context, I know we were joking, and if you caught the joke a little earlier, I was not much of a sportsman as a young lad. And so like not only did I not like play sports, but I didn't have a lot of interest in them either. Like
you were on the baseball team
in high school, but that was mostly like I've never been on a sport team before. Let me go try that.
That's true.
I was also quite bad. If memory serves me as well as I think it does. So yeah, like I've definitely since then been able to like appreciate and enjoy watching sports, but even at the time I was like, no, dude, I do not care. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure some of that was like I didn't want to be in with the sports crowd because they were just a bunch of dudes who were shitty, or at least that was my perception, right? Like, those are the kind of dudes who are just like meatheads and stuff. It's not true, but that's like how I thought of when I was, 7 or whatever. Mm-hmm. So Blitz felt like a very odd entrance, like a back door into liking sports for me.
Sure.
Because it was in a language that I knew how to speak, right? I think I talked about this on the NBA Street episode, that like this made it very accessible for me. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because even now, I still like watching football, but even now, if I try to pick up Madden, I'm fucked. I know not nearly enough about the game to engage with it in any real form.
Yeah, Madden is, you got to know football
to
be able,
like.
Yeah, you got to at least know the basic principles of football to play Madden.
Yeah.
Like jump in. Otherwise, you're just like, what are these plays? What do all these things mean? Yeah. When do I pass? Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. And so even as a young dude, I was like, I have no appetite for this. But Blitz made it very accessible, right? Like I think the only thing that's sort of difficult to parse at first is what plays you're going to do. But even still, the game mostly does them for you. Like, you'll pick a play and then some dudes run out and you essentially try to throw to the one who has the least guys around him.
Yeah.
So it's not that bad. And like just the rest of the rule set is so simplified. There's no real issues with like tackling dudes before they receive the ball. There's
no pass interference calls.
No, absolutely not. You can throw it to who the fuck ever. Like it doesn't matter.
No play challenges where you're like looking like, did that one blade of grass hit his knee before he crossed the plane of the field with the ball? The worst part of football.
Was that a football motion, or what do they call that? Like a sports move or something like that?
A football move.
Yeah, like none of this. There's none
was
of
that
in there.
Football move? It's like, what are you even talking about?
Yeah, you're either in or you're out, and like
you're right. Yeah.
The game is usually very clear with like, oh, you got in there or not. Even with the field goal scoring.
Field gore.
Field gore.
Now we're going back to fantasy again.
Yeah, exactly. Even with the field goal plays, usually they just do them. Like it just says like you got the point. It's like almost never a thing. You just pick to go for that. And
hey, good job.
Yeah, it happened. Again, it almost behooves you to go for the extra 2 points after you get a touchdown, because it's like, the game is not that hard. Like a couple of yards in this game is nothing. So yeah, I really enjoyed how like simplified and for lack of a better word, like dumbed down it was for all of us indoor kids who didn't know how to play football.
Very fair.
What else did you like about this one?
I mean, always the like visual effects of the fire and like the trail of what was it, like fire or smoke behind the football when you throw it is always very fun to me. The fact that it was kind of really intended to be played with somebody else was always fun. Right, you don't really want to play NFL Blitz against the computer. Like, what's the point? You're there to style on them with like a 50-yard touchdown bomb. So you got to play with somebody else, which is always good. I guess those are really the big things that stick out to me about NFL Blitz. It's just kind of this. It really is more of like a style and just kind of going for that quick hit of fun, as opposed to like a nice sustainable meal of meaty fun. It's kind of like a sugar high of a video game in a way. If that makes sense. It's
the speed of it was tangible. Just how
very quick.
How fast you can play a game. I think like in total it takes about 12 minutes to play a full game of football in Blitz.
It's a quarter. That's a 1/4 of football.
Yeah, in real life.
Less than.
Yeah, but the quarter in this game is essentially like 2 minutes, and the clock is ticking quickly. It's not actual 2 minutes. And I don't know if that's necessarily because like they wanted the arcade to play quicker so that people could move through it, but I certainly enjoyed it. Like I was like, well, that's cool. Like I can play through a whole game very, very fast.
Yeah, and it's nice because like if you play Madden online and you're getting your ass kicked, you're in it for like another 20 minutes. Yeah. Like what's the point?
That's true. Yeah, it's Dota-like in its length. So I definitely liked that. I think it is interesting in hindsight because this game is very much under the like Midway design ethos of the time. Mortal Kombat shares a lot of DNA with NBA or NFL Blitz, right? Like just the over-the-top nature of this video game.
Sure.
And I think, so I looked up the making of this game and like just sort of the development around it. And there's all these stories that like pop up whenever you read about it that at like Midway, these dudes, Mark Turnell and Sal DeVito, were like making the game, and they brought in like representatives from the NFL because they were licensing the NFL brand.
Sure.
They had there's multiple sources that like said this, that they demoed the game for them, and the NFL folks were like, hey, we have to like wash our hands of this video game. Like we cannot be associated with it.
Whoa.
And they're like, what? And essentially before they released it, there were like 15 to 20 extra animations that were in there that they had since removed because they were just like way too violent. Like the NFL was like, fuck, dude, we can't have this. There's the two designers were cited as like, there's ones where you like pick a dude up by his mask and like throw him down and shit like that, or like do like back breakers and shit, which is it's very Mortal Kombat, right? Like there's that over the top sort of like violent intent. And I think the design of all of these games is, especially the sports games, is take whatever is existing and turn it up to 11, right? NBA Jam was fun because it was just nothing but dunks, right? Like it is what you want in the purest form of basketball. Like I don't want a lot of dudes there. I just want dunks, and I want them to jump up to the fucking rafters and be beautiful. On fire and like everything, right? Like it's thrilling for the reasons that it is more basketball. It is the most basketball that you could
basketball want. At its purest form. Just exactly, dunks.
Yeah. Just dunks. Nothing but dunks, baby.
No Steph Curry allowed. Just dunks.
Yeah, so like that one made sense, right? Like there's not a lot of like that's not an offensive thing to put out there, right? Like
no.
A deep sense of basketball is just like, well, dunks are fun, man. Like that's just good home fun, baby. Just like mama used to make them.
Then you got football, and it's like, it's fun? Murdering a man in a
hurting
field.
Other men. Yeah, like holy shit. And like I found that sort of weird that the NFL was so, I get why, right? Like the public reputation of putting out a game with your license that is like sort of tacitly endorsing like, this is what we would do if we could. you know? And like, I get that it's not that. And I think the designers were also saying that at the time, that like, you know, this isn't real. This is a cartoon essentially. And, you know, it's very of its time to have this sort of like over the top violence and, you know, essentially like almost mocking the sport for being the way that it is. Right.
Yeah.
It approaches satire, especially with like an NBA Jam of just like these crazy dunks, but they're fun, right? Like somebody who sees that is fun. And in the same way that as a kid, I liked Blitz for after the play, you can like elbow slam somebody. It's like, it's, you know, it's fun.
It's like, gotcha.
You're right. Yeah. But I thought it was a little odd that, again, maybe not odd, but maybe hypocritical of the NFL to say like, hey, listen, we're totally cool with profiting off people like really hurting themselves, but put it in a video game and like make everybody look at it. I don't know. Like that's a little bad.
That's a big issue the NFL has nowadays, is looking like a bunch of hypocrites, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's big business, right? Like it's people who want to make as much money as they can, and you know, whatever they have to exploit, they will do that.
Unfortunately, what makes people turn the TV on is big hits, which is concerning. It's the truth. And that is, they don't go out and they're not super upfront about it. But you know, if you watch commercials for the NFL, what are they showing? Usually
tackles.
They're showing big old tackles with like the HD sound and just like pads hitting, bones crunching, people just going, ooh!
Yeah,
like getting the shit knocked out of each other. So yeah, I think it probably put a very clean mirror up to the NFL execs' faces, and they're like, I ain't looking good here. I'm out. I'm out on this one.
Yeah. Like I think it's interesting when there's like a magnifying glass put on this and people don't like what they see, and rather than addressing it, they just sort of say, let's not do this instead.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not naive to the fact that like these are huge businesses that are trying to make money, but it is sort of like disappointing that wasn't used as a reflection point, right? Just like any other sort of moment in football history could have been used the same way, right? Like there's so many moments and so many injuries where they could have been like, well, maybe we don't do this anymore.
No,
need profit, baby. Need to make some money.
I'm with you. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But that's their rebuttal, you know. That's what they'd be like, oh, you just don't have the stomach for it.
Yeah.
You know? It's kind of the subtext I get. At least,
yeah.
Right, from the NFL.
Yeah, I think that is probably true. I don't have the stomach for it. I don't know. I don't like people getting hurt, you know, like I think it is one, I don't know which one's worse actually. I was going to say it's one thing to ignore it and say, well, they probably don't get very hurt, but there's a lot of evidence that dudes do get very hurt in the NFL.
Dude, these guys are jacked up by the end of their careers.
Yeah, like deeply harmed people.
Yeah.
Or if it's worse to say, yes, I know that, I don't care. Both are pretty bad, right? Like both are not great situations. And so, yeah, I think there is definitely less of an issue putting this in a game, right? Like nobody is being hurt here.
No, totally.
It's a fucking video game, and I think especially at the time, like this was video game design was just over the top crazy shit going on in video games, especially arcade games.
Yeah,
that was sort of a way of making a video game that was popular. But I do sort of acknowledge that there's like a tacit like endorsement of this being kind of the thing, you know, like that if the guardrails were taken off, this is what we would really like to see.
Sure.
If, you know, we just really didn't give a shit that this is how it would go down. And I think that like it's probably kind of important to look at that and say like, is this who we want to be? Is this kind of how we want to do it? And, you know, if it's just a video game, if that's all it is, then okay, sure. Like that's fine. It's just video games, dude. Like it's not gonna, you know, really move the needle. But if it is an endorsement of something that's already kind of happening, then like maybe it is important to look at that. Or I would say it would be.
No, totally. And I think that's why they nipped it in the bud.
Yeah.
They didn't want to deal with that.
Yeah. There is this like account of, I think it was in another one of the Blitz games where they were absolutely allowing for late hits. And the NFL was like, hey, we can't do that. Like, let's not do that. And the game designers were like, okay, we are like, we'll take it out. But what if we just added like a code you could do to like allow people to do late hits? And I think the NFL, not understanding necessarily what that means, was like, okay, fine. Like essentially they thought maybe this was hidden behind, you know, some kind of cheat.
Yeah.
But you just had to know the button input to do it.
Oh, so it's like a fatality at that point.
Kind of, yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
It's a little rough. And again, goes back to the idea of if you're offended at this being in a video game, why? Right? Like, are you just worried about the violence? Like, okay, and sure. But if you're upset about it because you're angry that this is what like is actually going on in people's brains when you like watch the NFL, let's fucking talk about that instead. Let's take a peek at that one.
Yeah, what's going on here?
Because if we have a culture that just like glorifies violence through sports, then like what's up there? What does that say about us? And I know that that's like a heavy conversation and one that is definitely not going to happen, but something I thought was worth bringing up under the context.
Yeah, totally. I mean, probably the only way that you're going to get people to care about the player's health in football is just to not have football anymore. Like, I don't see how you can have the same game that's not exceptionally violent. But then you start getting into conversations of, these guys are getting paid lots of money. They know the risk at this point. They're very widely publicized. Should it be their choice to do this if they want?
Which is
that's a whole entire other sort of
I was going to say
conversation.
Because there's a lot of dudes who come from places that are pretty fucked and like don't have a lot of money, and if it's
this is their way out.
Yeah, like it's either, hey, I'm really good at football and I could take care of all of my family if I do this, and potentially fuck up my body forever, or maybe not fuck up my body. Like that's a tough call, right? Like a lot of these dudes come from like majority black high schools and like places that do not have any fucking money.
Sure.
And like if you're good at football, you can make money. So it's really fucking difficult.
I feel like if you're, I guess maybe the best option would be like a career backup kicker.
Oh, sure. Yeah, no, the best
then you're on easy
to play.
street.
Yeah.
They get like a nice 12, 15 year career as a backup kicker. You don't ever have to actually do much unless the other kicker gets like turf toe or something. Then you're in. Yeah. Then you could not have any damage on your body. But I don't know if there's anybody who plays football up until the professional level who doesn't have some sort of long lasting injury for some reason or another.
Yeah, no, I mean it's a really rough thing to play.
Tough game.
I guess it's a tough game. So yeah, thought it was worth broaching the topic.
Yeah, totally. Always an interesting topic.
What do you think Blitz would look like if they remade it today? I know they've made Blitzes recently, but say if Podtimism Inc. was gonna take a crack at making Blitz again.
If Podtimism was making Blitz, just gonna put them out there in all sorts of bubble wrap and then have them hit each other with little feather dusters. Is that what you want from our football?
No, this is not the game I want.
Oh God, this is not how I feel, everybody. Just so we're clear.
This is irony.
That's a good question. How an over-the-top NFL game would look nowadays.
Yeah,
that really is a tough one because so much of the game is intrinsically about hitting the ever-loving crap out of people. Maybe just replace them all with like Monstars versions of themselves.
Yeah, I feel like that may be a game, honestly.
Or just like make them all robots.
Mutant League Football is a video game.
There you go.
Sorry, Mutant Football League is the one that came out more recently.
Mutant Football League.
So yeah, a little bit. This has sort of been done, and essentially you're right. Yeah, you turn them into like ogres, which sort of doesn't still feel very good.
Yeah, then you're getting into like a lot of meathead stereotypes.
Yeah, like there's a ton of stereotypes, right? Like there's a lot of shit you can do or read into there, and like still doesn't feel super good.
Wait, hold on. I got it. I cracked it. I cracked the code. Okay. It's the Puppy Bowl.
Sure.
It's Puppy Bowl Blitz.
Puppies throwing each other on the ground and hurting each other.
They're not. They're playing, Chase.
Yes, sure.
It is play. Puppies are very resilient creatures.
It's like QWOP. Like you can barely control the fucking puppies on the field. It's not an easy game to play.
Oh, there's like little bits of treats around the field. If you get one, you just get a speed boost or something.
Speed boost.
Yeah.
I think like violence as the central mechanic of video games is sort of not a thing as much in the way that it was back then, right? Like Mortal Kombat and this sort of game of like where violence is the point almost is not quite as popular. Like Fortnite, you're still shooting dudes, but like there's no blood, like nobody's getting blown up, right? Despite the fact that like shooting is still violence, it's not like the mechanic isn't there. So I think if you're gonna do like a Blitz remake, you just replace the super intense, painful stuff with like very stylized, crazy shit going on.
Yeah, I was about to say like make them super acrobatic or something where you can like just jump like over 5 dudes at once or something.
I think like you can imagine it if Mario made a football game, like what that might look like.
Sure.
Where like they're just doing cool, crazy shit. And I think that's probably how it would shake out in a way that doesn't feel awful.
Fair.
Or in the way that, NBA Street does it, right? Like where they're realistic people, but they can just do absolutely banana shit.
And if you get hit, it's just you fall down. That's it.
Yeah. Do the special move like a line buster or something where you just like absolutely blast through the defensive line.
I mean, it would be pretty cool to see them do like some of the dribble moves they did in NBA Street through like the line of scrimmage on a football team.
Doing off the heezy
off the heezy of the nose tackle. Then you just jump over the line, get a cool 5 yards right there.
Yep.
Then do the beast mode rumble or whatever it is. Beast run.
I think that's probably it. I think like also keeping the game incredibly simple is so important to why this game was enjoyable. That like you would kind of have to. Again, I almost just imagine Mario made this, right? Like if somebody who is, in their 30s can enjoy it as much as somebody who is in their, who is 10 years old can enjoy it, then I think you've done it.
Most definitely. It needs to be accessible.
So yeah. Cool. Do you have anything else to say on NFL Blitz?
Touchdown or nothing.
Touchdown or nothing, dude. That's true. Sick. That's a great way to end this segment, actually.
Hey everybody.
Hi.
We're on Twitter.
We are.
We tweet.
We do.
We look at tweets. We read tweets. We think about tweets that we're going to tweet in the future. We're tweeters.
Have you seen that interview with Frodo? Oh my god. Elijah Wood, Pippin or Merry, I don't know which.
They're interchangeable.
Yeah, where he's like talking about wigs or something like that. I don't think Elijah Wood knows it's him interviewing him.
He doesn't know it's one of his co-stars interviewing him?
I think he was like behind a wall or like, on the internet or something like that.
Oh.
So you saying we read tweets, we think about tweets reminded me of that.
Your hair changes dramatically from short to long. Do you wear wigs?
No, I do not.
Have you worn wigs?
No, I have not.
Will you wear wigs?
Maybe.
When will you wear wigs?
When will you tweet?
When will we tweet? Who knows? It's a surprise. That's why you gotta check our Twitter.
That's true.
Oh, it all comes back.
Nice. Yeah, nicely done.
We are
stuck the landing
at Podtimism.
That is true.
Podtimism. There you go.
That's true.
You can email us at vgpodtimism@gmail.com.
It's true. We still have that.
We still have that
out there.
If you wanna email us, do it the old-fashioned way nowadays.
Yeah.
And if you
do it like the Pilgrims used to do.
Do it like the old Pilgrims used to do it back in the day. And we also would really appreciate it if you left a review for the show on Apple Podcasts.
That is true.
It really helps us out. And give us some feedback. Give us your unfiltered feedback. Let the world know what you really think about us.
And also, thanks.
If
you're listening to this part, you're deep into the episode. You're a true fan. You're a true Podtimist. Thank you so much for spending an hour-ish with us weekly.
You're a podtomaniac. I don't know what
a podtomaniac. Wow.
Is that? No, that's too much. That's too much.
They're podtomani. They're totally insane.
I don't know the rest of this.
The old one's going zany. Podtomaniacs.
That was good. We got 3 old one jokes in this podcast.
Yeah, we're really milking this for what it's worth.
We already did it. We did it. The old one is just a good term.
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
It's a good term.
It's the old god who keeps on giving.
I mean, honestly, it's like, is Hideo Kojima the old one?
If we're trying to combine all of our jokes into one, that may be what goes on. Oh, God. David.
Chase.
I may have some gaming wisdom.
Do you? I'm all ears. I'm all ears. I'm all eyes on the inside as well.
I'm all eyes on the inside is a pretty frightening sentence.
That's what they say throughout Bloodborne.
Yeah, it's
We
rough.
need more eyes on the inside.
So, if you're seeking knowledge, maybe seek it. But if that knowledge is hidden behind the magic of blood and it is based in Yharnam, I think it might be cool to not seek that knowledge. Mm-hmm. The knowledge of the old ones is not always a good time. It's actually a bad time, I think, in most of that canon universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not good.
But if you're trying to put back America together, knowledge is good. Unless you are the extinction entity, in which case, don't connect America.
Ooh, don't do it.
Or maybe do.
Do you.
You do you, extinction entity. EE. EE is the abbreviation that they use in that video game.
It's very Hideo.
Death Stranding is a whole fucking thing, David. I'm still not over this video game.
I'm going to have to play it. Jahan's playing it too, apparently.
Whoa.
Yeah. So maybe you should peep Jahan and see what his thoughts are.
I need to ask Jahan. I feel like he would interpret this game in a very wild way. He might have some shit to say.
It represents the global marginalization of the South. Or the marginalization of the global South, I think is what he said. Yeah. The economic marginalization of the global South.
I have no idea what this means.
It just means that things like south of the equator have been marginalized globally, economically, which is true facts. True facts. It's just quite a text message to receive from your friend when you're like, "Hey, you're back in town. What are you doing?" And he's like, "Learning about the economic marginalization of the global South." I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to hang right now.
Are you trying to go to Adalberto's though? Like, we can talk about it. I want to hear about that, but I do need a burrito.
Yeah, let's do it over a Cali Reet.
What an episode.
We're all over the place on this one. We really meandered through a couple different topics here. This is really the video game variety hour this time.
Yeah, no, we're definitely a variety show at this point.
Yeah.
Football, video games, Death Stranding. I'm not even sure I'm going to call that a video game.
Ethical discussions on violence in sports.
Who knew?
Not me. I wasn't ready for it, but I did TA for a sports ethics class. So
you were ready for it then. You absolutely. You're the right person to be talking to.
I was there.
Wow. I didn't even know I had a master in the midst.
Not a master.
I didn't even know I had a person who took a class in college in the midst.
I TA'd for the class. Never took it.
Okay, let's keep this bar. Keep moving.
Keep blinging this goalpost closer to me, because I ain't getting to it.
Okay, I didn't know that we had somebody who TA'd a class in our midst.
Hey, that's me, baby.
Hey.
Got it. Got him.